Hello, welcome back to Buckle Up. My name's Jasper and this is a Golf R Black Edition. And I think this might just be peak hot hatch. Front, you can tell that this Golf looks like a Golf, but it is in fact the Black Edition, so you do get a few little changes. Obviously, a lot of the front of this is blacked out, and then this Golf R, you've got some excellent little bits of body coloured design that sit at the front. Little bit of aerodynamics going on there, but also a lot of styling. But on the whole, this is very much recognisable as a Golf. At the front, you've got this great light bar that goes across the top of your headlamp clusters, which are VW's IQ Light LEDs. That is your indicator, and then you've got a light bar that goes across the top of this grille into your light up VW badge, something they've started doing on more models in the UK, and I don't particularly like it, but if you like your badge to light up, good news, it does light up. The rest of the front of the car is pretty simple. It's very understated for a hot hatch. It doesn't particularly shout about it, although you do have a few bits which give you a clue that it's the performance model. Namely, your deep sculpting on the bumper, the elements of black styling, and the fact you've got some actual aerodynamics happening around these edges. Obviously, front and centre, you've got your VW badge, and then below that, you've got a front camera for the 360-degree camera system that this car is fitted with as an optional extra, and down at the bottom, you've got a sensor for your assisted driving systems. Around the side, there are a few more clues that this just happens to be the Black Edition of the Golf R, namely black plastic mirror caps, black tilt slide pan sunroof, again optional extra, 1250 quid, thank you, and these 19-inch black alloy wheels. I think they look ace. They've got an R badge in the centre and a little R emblem around the outside. You've also got a black R badge on the side here on the front door, and then here you've got a little emblem. It says black. It's the Black Edition, in case you hadn't worked that out. Tinted rear windows, and then at the back here, bit of a big wing with, again, a black strip along the edge of it. On the driver's side of the car back here as well, you've got your fuel flap, and you might need to get used to that because if you drive this quite fast, you're going to need a lot of fuel. Around here, you've got a continuation of your IQ light clusters. These LED elements are brilliant. They do a little dance when you approach and unlock the car. Your indicators sit at the bottom of these red bits, and then your running lights are these sections at the outer edges. Your indicators do a little scrolly thing. It looks quite nice. I do like the lighting on this car. I think it's pretty decent. As mentioned, massive wing that overhangs your rear screen. You've got a rear wiper. You've got a blacked in VW badge. This one doesn't light up, and then you've got a gloss black R logo just underneath that on the boot. Down here you've got some black trim above your honking massive diffuser with, in this case, a quad tip Akrapovic exhaust. Now, I don't know how I feel about one exhaust tip per cylinder of engine. I feel like it's slightly overkill. What I will say, however, though, is this sounds excellent from the outside of the car. The Akrapovic exhaust is unfortunately a £3,500 optional extra, but in my very humble opinion, it is very much worth it because the noise this makes is excellent. I do like the styling at the back of the car. I think it's a little bit more sensible in some ways than the styling at the front. And then VW also do this great thing where they hide things. So for years and years, the Golf's boot latch has been hidden inside the VW badge, but in this case, the reversing camera is also nicely hidden underneath there, so it doesn't get filthy even if the roads you're driving on are filthy. If I reach in and pop open this boot, you are greeted with a very practical and very sensible 341 litres of space. The boot floor is nice and flat, there's a little bit of a lip to lift things over, and then your rear seats fold in a 60-40 configuration, but you do have through loading as an option in that central section. There are some pockets at either side of the boot, and you do have a bag hook on both sides of the boot, as well as some luggage tie-down points and a nice removable parcel shelf. Underneath this boot floor, You do have some more storage, and then underneath that extra floor is quite literally nothing because this car has an all-wheel drive system, so that space is a little bit occupied. Another thing I like about this boot is the fact that if you do want to lift up this false floor, there's latches to just hook it on. So if you're putting things underneath, you don't need to hold it up. That's good design. This car has also come with some excellent pop-out sunshades that can be fitted to the rear screen and rear passenger doors. They fit in this little mat in the boot floor, and there's also this which has a nice flap that can just lift over to protect the back of the car if you need to sit on it whilst, say, taking off some hiking boots or something. Good design choice there, but you'll have to pay for it. I'm in the back seats of the Golf R, and it's kind of like the standard Golf in the sense that I've got quite a good amount of knee room, quite a good amount of headroom, and if I were 182 centimetres tall, I would be able to fit back here even in that case. I am only 173 centimetres tall though, so that means I've got loads of space back here. There is obviously a bit of a hump in the floor down here because you've got the rear wheels to send some power to as a result of this having an all-wheel drive system, but still that doesn't eat into footroom too much. So 3 adults would be okay in here for a short journey, but again, like anything in this size class, if you need to regularly carry 3 passengers in the back and they aren't children, look for something bigger. Isofix points on both of these outer seats behind flip down plastic covers. They stay attached, which is very nice. So if you need to put 2 child seats back here, you'll be all right. And the fact that the doors open pretty wide means that it shouldn't be too difficult to do that. One thing I do need to mention is the leather and fabric on these seats, because I really like this checkered blue pattern. It looks very good. And the Alcantara inserts do also feel very nice too. I've got an armrest, which has got VW's classic 2 large, 1 small cup holder in it, and I will fit a bottle of water inside these door pockets, which are nice and felt lined. Generally, the material quality in here is okay. There are hard plastics on the top of these doors, but I thankfully have a nice squidgy armrest to put my elbow on, and there's a nice Alcantara insert in this door too. So yes, while some elements of this cabin are a little bit scratchy, most of your touch points are pretty good. Practicality is good as well. I've got the aforementioned cup holders and door pockets, and then I've got somewhere to put a phone up here on the back of both seats and a larger mat pocket. I've also got 2 USB Type-C ports for chargers down here and a 3rd zone of climate control. Get me! You've got a pair of vents down here at knee level so you can direct your airflow. I'm pretty comfortable back here. The seats are very supportive and it's a relatively well-designed cabin, even if some of the materials are more on the functional side. I must say that the front seats are pretty much a continuation of the back ones, but with a little step up when it comes to things like material quality. So my door cards up top are nice and squidgy, dashboard squidgy, you don't really tend to touch that though. And here I've got some carbon fibre across the door cards and across the dashboard. It is proper carbon fibre, it's been lacquered and then nicely polished up to a kind of matte sheen. I do like the contrast blue stitching you get on the steering wheel. I like the R badge on the steering wheel. I like this blue insert on the steering wheel. Ties in very nicely with, again, your blue fabric. Nice Alcantara on the seats, and then your stitched R in both of these seats. You've got some blue piping and blue stitching, and then you've got quite a lot of gloss black plastic. Now this will obviously attract fingerprints, and if you're not careful with stuff like keys, you might scratch it up. It's all very well screwed together as well, I must say. Feels solid, and you've got things like felt-lined door pockets up here, aluminium pedals, and then a nice aluminium strip across the centre of the dashboard running through your air vents. It's pretty practical too. You've got large door bins, you've got a Qi charger for your mobile phone under here with ventilation. There's a nice flip down cover that can go over that, and then you can put something on top of it. This says Golf in it, very German, telling you what the car is that you're sitting in. You've got 2 USB Type-C ports up here for connecting to the infotainment system, but this does have both wireless CarPlay and Android Auto as well. There are a pair of cup holders in here. One has got a button and it extends and kind of pinches your drink, so this could hold a smaller can if you wanted to. The cup holders at the front are okay. There's a 12-volt socket here in a weirdly exposed place for this kind of car, and then this is an adjustable height armrest with a little storage cubby underneath it as well. I do also have a glove box, which is not felt lined, but it is damped and it is a decent size too. Let's talk about controls, because that's one area where the Golf R is slightly different to the rest of the Golf 8.5 range, because one thing VW did with the Golf 8.5 was they took away the capacitive buttons on the steering wheel and they fitted proper ones. Now that's not the case with the Golf R, and part of the reason for that is essentially there's an R button here, which is a quick change to get to your R modes, and basically they didn't want to pay for new tooling for buttons, so you do still have capacitive buttons. I am pleased to report though that they require a proper push now to activate. So yes, they do still give you haptic feedback, but you've got to actually push them to make them do something. Another thing that's changed is the shift paddles behind the steering wheel are much bigger, and I must say I really like how VW are using the stalks out of some Skoda products in their cars. A further change, obviously, on the Mark 8.5 is the fact that, yes, you've still got your sliders for controlling your 2 climate zones up front and your volume in the middle, but they are illuminated and they do now work. The infotainment system in this actually I think is really good. It's a great big screen that sits nice and front and centre on the dashboard. It's pretty slick, I think, and once you've learned where things are, it's very easy to navigate. It does feel quite a lot like a mobile phone. It responds nice and quickly, and you've got very useful things like a voice assistant who you can ask to change things like temperature, so you don't actually need to faff about with sliders if you really don't want to. I've also got an excellent digital drivers cluster, which has got various different configurable modes, different views, and all of the information that's displayed here is displayed pretty clearly. VW don't tend to give you loads of little messages. They tell you what you need to know, when you need to know it, and in a pretty clear sense. The only control that I'm not overly sold on in here really is the shift selector. If you're going to give me something to move in the center console that's a gear selector, make it a proper lever, or give me one of the ID style twisty things up here, because either of those I think is slightly better than this weird little nubbin. What you really want to know though about the Golf R is how does it drive, so let's go and do that. Right, the Golf R. Well, this is peak hot hatch really, isn't it? It's all-wheel drive, it's got a good old lump of performance, and it drives very, very well. You've got under the bonnet the ever-famous EA888 engine from VW Group, 2-litre turbocharged petrol 4-cylinder, producing here 333 PS and 420 Newton meters of torque. These figures mean you can get yourself from 0 to 62 miles an hour in a blistering 4.6 seconds. This car is very much a point and squirt in all weather on all road surfaces. It is excellent at getting that power down. When it comes to how it drives as well, where you may be worrying about some kind of numbness, you can feel things through the steering. Okay, it's not as good as, say, a Honda Civic Type R, but you can actually feel what the front tyres are doing when you turn into a corner. You've got various different drive modes in this, for all the way from eco up to a race mode. And if you do put it in that race mode, your exhaust comes alive. You've got the Krapovich exhaust and you open the valves in that, so it does begin to sing if you put your foot down. And also, if it's hot on the overrun, you get an excellent little crackle coming through. It is quite subtle from inside the car, despite this having a noise generator, so you do have to kind of listen out for it, but when you're outside of the car, it does sound excellent. So if it's summertime, put your window down and just enjoy the noise. The other thing that putting it in race mode obviously does is it tautens up your steering, sharpens your throttle response, and it also adjusts the adaptive dampers that are fitted to this car. Now, the thing that I've found is that, unfortunately, even in their softest setting, comfort, on broken road surfaces, I would actually describe this as verging on unacceptably firm. But once you're moving, it does settle down nicely, and it's actually relatively comfortable for something that's as performance focused as this. I mean, ultimately the Golf is a vehicle that is a performance hot hatch, which is designed to be able to let you drive at 8/10 all of the time and be practical enough to carry all of the stuff you need with you. The cabin in this is really quite nice, the materials that surround you are good, and just all round it's an excellent vehicle. It just happens to also have 333 PS and be pretty blooming nippy if you want it to be. The 7-speed DSG connected to the engine is excellent. It is so snappy when you change through gears, and if you are in that race mode and you change down, you do get an excellent little crack and pop from the exhaust. The paddles behind the steering wheel are also brilliant. The fact that they've grown versus the Mark 8, it just makes them so much more usable. And that is this car in a nutshell, really. It's performance, but it's usable performance. Irrespective of the day, road surface, conditions, etc., this is a vehicle that will allow you to use all of the power and torque that it's got. It's designed to be an excellent fit into daily life and just allow you to really eke out the most you can in everyday driving situations. And it's just so good at it. Obviously, you've got a full suite of ADAS systems, lane departure warnings, cruise control, self-steer on lane-marked roads, etc., and they are all really good and work brilliantly. Now, when it comes to price, the Golf R is actually pretty decent value at the bottom end of its price range. So you can get into a Golf R brand new from about £46,000. This, though, is the black edition and it's got several optional extras, so this has been optioned up to nearly £54,000. And at that, it does start to become diminishing value for money, but it has got some of the nice options like the Akrapovic exhaust. It sounds excellent. The tilt slide pan sunroof, again, 1,250 quid, but you could argue it's money well spent. You've just got to pick and choose your options, really, because it's very easy to spend a lot of money. It's just what you spend it on and whether it's worth it to you. So yes, that is VW's Mark 8.5 Golf R in this trim, the black edition. And to wrap it up, I think, for reasons explained, it is pretty much as good a hot hatch as you can buy right now. You've got performance on tap, which you can put down irrespective of road conditions and weather. You've got an amazing all-wheel drive system, and it's got the ever-famous Golf practicality to boot. Let me know what you think of the Golf R in the comments below, and tell me, is this your pick when it comes to a hot hatch? That is everything for today's video, so if you have enjoyed it, please do let me know by liking, commenting, and if you've not done so already, subscribing to the Buckle Up YouTube channel. Whilst you're down there, have a look at the video description where all of our social media are linked, as well as our merch store, and if you'd like to support the channel in another way, you can become a channel member directly here on YouTube. That is everything, thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!